Alright, I don't think anyone's on right now. I'll wait a couple minutes while I do that. Wait a couple minutes. Ugh, words are hard. Gonna wait a couple minutes to see if people hop on. I hope people hop on and I'm not just talking to people who watch the replay. Not that I mind that people watch the replay. Ah, there's someone. Okay. Hello. So I'm kind of just going to give you guys an update on what I have been up to in the past week, because I feel like I have gotten so much done, but then as I've gotten everything together to talk to you guys, it doesn't feel like I've gotten a lot done. So I'll let you be the judge of that. So, hi Suzanne. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out with me, being my accountability buddy. Hi Stacy. So, need to grab one more thing and then I think I'm prepped. This is gonna go a whole lot smoother than last week because I have a plan. Anyway. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys was the update on the Spanish dress and my 1890s ball gown. I have started the Spanish dress, but I haven't started the ball gown. I was going to start the patterning today, so when I get off from chatting with you guys, I will probably pattern that. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot. There's not actually a lot on my table, but I feel like there's a lot. Anyway, okay. I keep looking over in this direction because that's where my whiteboard is with my lists. But we're just going to start from the beginning, I guess. So I had my 10-year-old stays, which I showed you guys last week, which needed replaced because the boning was wearing through. So I have made the replacement for those. They are flossed. The tie is set in the back, and then they lace up the front. I really like my corsets lacing up front and back because I feel like it gives it a lot more, what's it called, flexibility for weight changes. And we're all going through some weight changes right now, so the flexibility with that's really nice. So yeah, I'm really excited that those are done. What I'm more excited about is the prospect that I will not need them. And I know that this sounds kind of weird, that I made a pair of stays expecting not to need them, but it's also really exciting. So if you guys have been following with my research, either on Instagram when I was making my dolls or as I've talked about my dolls, there is no evidence in the conservation reports for both the Eleanor to Delito burial gown and the Crimson Pisa gown that the under bodices were boned. They were made out of thicker materials like corduroy and velvet, which meant that they had a lot of structure to them, and that could be what made them supportive. But I do have velvet that I could make some out of. I just overheat really easy, and so the reason how come I don't want to wear the stays is because of how easily I overheat. So if I could use the same principle as a self-supported bodice to give me the right shape for my Spanish dress in a lighter weight material, that's the goal. So at Penzic last year, which if you don't know, Penzic is a giant 2-week reenactment learning camp out thing. Like, think Mountain Man Rendezvous, but for like medieval Renaissance time period. That's the easiest I can equate those. So at Penzic last year, I took a class that talked about how to fit coat hardies, which is a style of dress, properly. And the lady that taught the and she was a fuller built woman. She had lots of beautiful curves, and she was supported, and it was beautiful. And I'm just like, how do you get this shape with 2 layers of linen? Well, I have experimented, and I will be making a video that details this, so I'm not going to go over in horrible detail right now. But this is 2 layers of linen. I have interfaced where the eyelets are with a layer of lightweight canvas. But other than that, it's the shaping. I don't know if you guys can see. Let's get my hair out of the way. Ah, yes. Where's the seam? So you can see the shaping, how it kind of like divots in and then goes out. It's the shaping right here, which is at my under bust, that provides that lift and that self-supporting thing. And so that's how I now have a self-supporting underbodice. With the Crimson Pizza dress, the skirt was attached directly to the self-supporting underbodice. So that's what I'm going to be doing with my Spanish dress, because I'm using the Crimson Pizza dress as my mold for this dress, for, you know, experimental archaeology. Yeah, I'm really excited that this 2 layers of linen is self-supporting. I cannot tell you guys how excited I am about that. It's utterly ridiculous. If you guys are wanting to pattern it yourself, Morgan Donner does have an excellent fitted kirtle pattern. I used, what's it called? Research Dumping Ground is a page on Facebook. And she recently posted, they recently posted a pattern where you can use the Bara method, which is what I use for all of my modern makeup, which is what I use for all of my modern maker or Alsaga patterns, to draft a self-supported bodice. I did have issues with this bodice pattern, mostly for the fact that I know how my body is shaped and I know what will give me the best support, and this pattern didn't do it for me. But it does give me a really good block that I could then fit down from, if that makes sense. It gave me a fantastic starting point, and so I looked at the starting point and went, okay, and then we need to do these alterations and adjustments, which I'll talk about when I do, when I make the video on this underbodice. So yeah, I was so excited in making this underbodice that I almost went to cutting out the skirt for the, not the velvet dress. I need to breathe. I am like thinking of way too many things at once. So I was so excited about the supportive underbodice that I almost went straight to cutting out the skirt for my Spanish dress. But then I realized I'm not going to be able to properly fit this skirt until I have the set of hoops that I need, or the farthingale that I need. So I started on the base for that, and I ran into a couple problems because I need cable cutters to cut the cable that I have to stiffen this, and then I also didn't do my math right. Like, honestly, I would highly recommend following a pattern to get a set of hoops. Doing the math to do this myself is utterly insane. I feel like I'm going crazy. And so I did the math wrong. And so I've got to take the entire thing apart and replace the gores and then sew it all back together. Anyway, the good news is it should all work out. But yeah, this, let's see, that's just a quarter of it, so I don't know if you guys can see. I'm going to have close to a 4-yard hem, right? No. I'm going to have close to a 14-foot hem, which is a 5-yard hem. Yeah. like hem circumference doesn't intimidate me because if I'm remembering correctly, I think my silver Ravenclaw dress had a 17-foot hem. So my hem is still going to be bigger than my hoops. But, I mean, it's a lot of math to figure it all out. And I'm just, yeah, it's what it is. So, hello to everyone that hopped on. I went from like 2 people when I started talking to like however many is on now. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Let's see. Yes. So I'm waiting for cable cutters to come in so I can finish making the hoops. I feel like I'm kind of stalled on my Spanish dress until... Oh, don't feel bad that you're late. You're here. Or watching the replay. I mean, I don't care. Where was I? Oh yeah, cable cutters to cut the wire to make the hoops, stalled on Spanish dress. So the next thing that I need to do is my 1890s ball gown, and I originally was thinking that I wanted to do the bodice pattern from the Keystone guide, but I'm not confident in being able to follow the instructions in the Keystone guide, and I would rather pattern from Janet Arnold because I'm more comfortable sizing up those patterns. They're basically the same. I'm going to get the same shape. So, yeah. I think that's what I'm going to do for that. I just need to decide if I'm going to just flatline the whole thing or if I'm going to do 2 layers. Like, I need to work out the details of how I want to build the bodice. And that will probably change a couple of times as like I think about the pattern. But I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I wanted to make the 1890s ball gown a transition gown, only instead of having like a day wear bodice, because I don't think I'm going to have enough of that blue silk for it, I wanted to make a jacket that went with it. And a hat, because I am getting an obsession with hats. So, I'm gonna sit down. I need my stool. Okay. Oh, hey, look. Let's move you guys forward, too. Hey, look at that. I still feel like I'm, like, horribly off screen. Yeah, so I'm getting an obsession with hats, and I feel like if I'm going to be building out my Edwardian wardrobe correctly, then when I build a new outfit, I need to build a hat to go with it. I fully recognize that this is going to mean that I am going to end up with like 20 hats. I think I'm okay with this. I think I can dedicate a wall in my studio to housing my hats. Yeah. We got to like get into the building phase of them though. Which also means that like I need to go get more hat making supplies, which means that I need to go outside and interact with people, and that's where it gets iffy. But we'll get there. I'll be less afraid of people and pandemics soon. So yeah. Because you can never have too many hats. Yes, this is what I am being told, and I am running with it. The other thing I need to do is figure out how to do an Edwardian hairstyle so that way it supports the hat better and it balances better. I need to get like stuff so I can start playing with that, because for the past 10-ish years I have been like absolutely putting no product on my hair, just been kind of like a wash and go person. So I need to like figure out what types of like gels and mousses and hairsprays and stuff that I like and start playing with that. So that will be coming. Yeah, so I am growing out my hair. It's not nearly as long as I want it to be. My hair used to be about waist length, and then I decided, oh hey, I want to do like a 50s vintage wardrobe, so I cut my hair off to like my shoulders. Well, it was like my collarbone is where it was, and then when I curled it, it was at my shoulders. And then I realized that was too high maintenance. And so now I'm back to growing out my hair, because longer hair is less maintenance for me. Powders for my hair instead of gels. I do have on my Christmas list for this year to get the American Duchess hairstyling book, because I would be very interested in trying some of their recipes and figuring out how to do things that way. For the beginning of experimenting, I feel like I would be more comfortable using products I'm semi-familiar with, because I used to do a lot of fancy hairstyles in high school. I was like that extra kid in high school that wore like a floor-length black cloak every day with a prom-style hairdo. Don't ask how I had friends. I don't know. Actually, I don't think I really did. Anyway, back to topic. Okay. 1890s ball gown, transition, insertion lace blouse. I have been wanting an insertion lace blouse for a long time. And since this 1890s ball gown has a specific theme, I've decided that maybe crocheting my own lace should be a thing, so I can get a lace that is on theme for the rest of the stuff, because I'm putting like yards of applique on this dress. Like the whole hem of this ball gown is going to be applique. So, yeah. It's gonna be a lot of applique. I'm going to hate myself by the end of it. I need to figure out like a better place for my lamp, because I feel like every live stream it's like sticking out of my head. Anyway, so random. Yeah. So I'm thinking about crocheting my own insertion lace, and this may or may not be a thing, just because the smaller scale you work with crochet, the longer it takes, and to get any sort of yardage with insertion lace, I will literally need to be doing this every night from now until like the deadline for this project. So yeah. I did do some experiments with the weight of yarn or thread that I would need to get this insertion lace done. And so I know what I would need, and I have the crochet hook for it. It's literally just a matter of time, and me trying to decide if I have the time to do this or not. So, oh, you're teaching yourself bobbin lace. You are my hero. Bobbin lace is one of those like, so I knit and I crochet and I dabble in like open work embroidery, so like drawn thread, lacy stuff I dabble in, which a lot of people are just like, to me that's witchcraft, and I'm like, no, this makes sense. Bobbin lace is witchcraft. So kudos to you for teaching yourself bobbin lace. Enjoy your witchcraft. Yes. I feel like you can get better like lace designs with bobbin lace than you can with crochet though. I also think it works up quickly, but maybe that's just because I've watched like the ladies who have been doing it for a decade, and they literally like, when they do their bobbins, they're just like, it's like watching like the chefs make sushi. It's like the same thing. They're just so quick. Anyway, bobbin lace is amazing. Kudos to you for doing it. Yeah. Okay, I think that is all of the updates that I had. So, I think don't put too much stress on myself, because I might wake up and hate it one day. I am pretty I've been designing and dressmaking for long enough that I'm pretty good at knowing, like, oh, hey, I'm going to hate this, and like, oh no, like, this is fantastic pretty quick. Um, it is very uncommon for me to be like most of the way done with a project and then realize I hate it. Most of the time I'll figure it out within like the first 6 hours. And then that's only like 6 hours down the drain for a super detailed project instead of like the 40 that it would take. So, yeah. Okay, so I wanted, because this is like, I want my lives to like be like catch up with me sewing vlog thing. I'm going to steal a thing from Noelle and costuming drama because seeing everything on a whiteboard really helps, and I want to like celebrate wins with you guys. So we are going to go over to my whiteboard, and I will show you the lists of things that I have planned, and the things that I got done. We will like scratch off because it's satisfying for everyone. And then I did want to talk about commissions for a little bit because the majority of what I've been working on this week has been this commission cloak. And I am taking commissions, and I wanted to just like talk to you guys a little bit about commissions and things at the end. So yeah, let's go to my whiteboard. So, which like I have my table fully spread out right now because I've been doing a lot of like cutting and patterning. So let's just walk around my table because it's so big. Alrighty, I don't know how much of this I'm going to be in. Ooh, I was worried you wouldn't be able to see the screen very well on camera. Okay, well, we are going to start with the Spanish dress because that's the first thing I talked about. And yes, I do color code everything according to project because that's how my brain works. So I have the stays done. I have a bum roll that I can use. Hey, I don't like that I'm not in frame. There we go. I have a bum roll that I can use. It's just I stuffed it with the wrong thing, so it's really heavy. So I have it listed up here that to make another one, it's not really a priority. But, oh, the under bodice is done. So I can scratch that off too. So the next big step for my Spanish dress is going to be getting the hoops and the petticoat done. I think I've settled on the idea of using the same hoops and petticoat to help floof out my 1890s dress, just because I think it'll give me more of the shape that I want. Because everything that I have seen from like the fashion plates and other people's recreations is that the skirts in the 1890s had very much a conical shape that they do in the 1500s. So I'm going to just like use the same foundations because why make more than you have to when things are just like nuanced. Anyway. So yeah, the ball gown, I haven't started on any of this, but I'm going to make the pattern today, probably tomorrow at this point because it's getting a little bit later in the day. Yeah. I have the pattern that I want for my insertion lace, for the insertion lace blouse. I just need to sit down and like make yards of it. So I need to start forcing myself to like give myself evenings again because I've been working from like when I wake up to when I go to bed recently. So I need to start allowing myself to have evenings where I can sit down and crochet the insertion lace and, you know, binge watch something. So I think that's the only way that I'll get this done, and I'll be super happy with it because the design's so cute. I don't have it up here with me. It is currently by my couch downstairs, or else I would show it to you because I really kind of like it. Anyway, this cloak is my commission piece. I literally just have the closures left on it. I finished the rest of it earlier today, and I am so happy with how this turned out. I have not made a cloak in probably 10 years because I made one 10 years ago and haven't needed another one. So let's go show you the cloak and talk about it for a minute. I probably will not have this cloak with me on my live next week, just because I want to get it shipped out to my client as soon as possible. But alright, there we go. So this is the cloak. I'm going to put it on. So it's kind of fabulous. I'm going to put a giant hook and eye, which I'm probably going to have to make out of wire, right at the neck. And then I'm going to have all of the reference photos that she sent me had a giant bow in the front. So I'm just going to tack the ties onto either side to cover up that hook and eye. And then have the giant bow that she wanted. She also specifically requested the arm slits in there. So it's going to look super cute. So, and then the big hood was another thing that she really wanted. So the big hood, the bow, and the arm slits. It is also going to be floor length on her. She is about a foot shorter than I am, so it's not quite that length on me. But yeah, this is the cloak. I think it turned out super cute. I am really happy with a lot of the details and finishing work that I've put into it. So, Sleepy Hollow vibes. Yeah, kind of. It definitely fits into that time period and era. A lot of the reference pictures that she sent me were definitely 1700s inspired. So it definitely fits into that time period and era. But I need to give it a good press, which I will do later. But I hemmed the lining and the wool layer separately because the wool was stretching, which is expected, because I lined it with the taffeta, which is a really dense, compact weave. And then the wool is a looser, more stretchier fabric. So you guys can see how that's stretching, especially on the bias. So I hemmed them separately, and I just put a bit of the taffeta to give the hem a clean finish. And then the neckline has a super clean finish as well. I put the collar piece on just because with the wool and the taffeta, the pleats that it needed to get to the right neck size were going to be super thick, and I didn't want to try to seam the two of them together when I could just add a strip of fabric. So this is actually a trick that you guys can use in your sewing. When I made my husband's velvet pants, I did the same thing. So that way all of the velvet paneled pieces were sewn directly into the waistband, and then I used a strip of fabric and then sewed the lining to the strip of fabric. That way it wasn't super thick, and if one of the panels pulled out, the gathers on the lining didn't pull out as well. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to put a giant hook and eye for the closure, and then I'll have a tie with mitered corners to go over that. And just hide that hook and eye because I don't think I'm going to be able to get a sturdy wire that is black. Yeah, at least not a sturdy black wire that will stay black. And I believe in quality, so. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to show you was the arm slits. Look how nicely those are finished. Like, I'm just so happy with the quality of this. And I feel like I'm bragging when I say that, but I make things, sometimes the things that I make for myself are not up to the same quality standard as what I make for other people. Especially when, like, I'm not cheap to commission. I'm just gonna throw that out there. If you want me to make you something, it's not going to be cheap. And because of that, I want to make sure that anyone who gets a commission gets really good quality. So, yeah. I'm gonna put this back on my dress form. Yeah, but like I said earlier, that cloak is really been the bulk of what I have been working on this week. Don't worry, you're allowed to brag. Yes, I feel like I have earned that right. I have been sewing for a decade now. And I have, like, I did a tailoring apprenticeship. I am trying to set up my own business. I feel like I have earned the right to be proud of my work. I just, brain weasels, you know? So, I missed a comment. My client will be over the moon. I sure hope so. So let's talk a little bit about commissions really quick. I am currently taking commissions. If you want to commission something, you can email me at scrapsandsequins@gmail.com. Make sure you put commission request in the subject line so that way I can like filter through things easier and also file things easier. I just don't want any commission request to go unread because of an error on my end. So if you guys could help me out there, that would be fantastic. Like I said, I am not cheap. I have put a lot of time into learning the things that I need to learn, as well as I've put a lot of time into what I have learned and also my skill level. And I feel like I should be compensated for that at a fair livable wage. And when you take a livable wage, times it by 20 hours, it's going to be expensive. On top of that, materials are expensive. Unless you want things made out of a polyester broadcloth and like, yeah, unless you want things made out of a polyester broadcloth, material is going to be expensive. So when you think about like, hey, I kind of want this as a commission, just keep those in mind, that I will request that I get paid a livable wage and materials are expensive. And that goes for like, not if you just want to commission me, that goes for if you want to commission anyone. Like, it's ridiculous to expect a cloak like what I just showed you guys for less than $100. Like, the material alone for that cloak was about $100. So yeah, but also, like, if you know who you're commissioning the pieces from, you get what you pay for. I don't know of a creator or a tailor that does not take pride in their work and does not want to give good quality pieces. So, yes. The other thing about commissions right now is that with everything going on in the world, supply lines are kind of, they're iffy. So if you are ordering fabric from a company, if you have commissioned something from someone, just be patient with them. Hopefully the person that you've commissioned things from will keep you updated on things. But it took me a month to get the lining fabric from when I ordered it. And that's nothing to do with me. It's everything to do with like making sure people stay healthy and at distance, and that like packages have the proper time to sit so the thing can die before you pass it on to someone. Anyway, there's so many logistics going into things right now. It's never would have thought that I would have had to like schedule out timetables like this, let alone like apologize to people multiple times for things not coming in when I expected them to come in. But it's okay. Like, I feel like we can all be patient with each other. Like, you're obviously not going to be wearing a cloak in the middle of summer. Anyway, so yes. Sorry, I'm like going through the mental checklist in my head. So, fast fashion has made people think it would be cheaply. I wouldn't want to make a cape out of poly. Yes. Yeah. Honestly, I think fast fashion is just ridiculous. I stopped playing that game when I was in high school. I ranted about this in the live that I did about my handmade wardrobe. If you guys want to go back and watch that, it's at the very end. But yeah, like working in the tailor shop when I was doing my apprenticeship, it was always interesting to see the pieces that came in, and to see the pieces that were very high end and very well made, and then to turn around and work on a piece that was a fast fashion piece. And so, like, they were very different pieces. There's very different construction techniques that go into both. The amount of hand sewing involved in each of them is different. Like fast fashion, hand sewing, are you kidding me? No, there's a machine to attach hooks and eyes. When I sew things quickly, I actually attach hooks and eyes with my machine. So, and buttons for that matter. Like shirt buttons, you better bet those are sewn on with my machine. Yes, I don't even remember what I was trying to say. Oh yes, the quality of work is different. So I always strive to have a high quality of work. I know what that looks like. I know what that feels like. I know the difference between the two. And so with everything I try to make as a commission, I will put that high quality work into. I am just now getting to the point where I will do that level of work for myself. I'm getting to the point where I am starting to realize that I need to treat myself like a client, and make myself the beautiful things that I make for others. So I'm hoping that that'll start reflecting more in the videos that I will be putting out later this year, because that's when the Spanish dress and the ball gown videos will be going out. Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's all I got for you guys. Had the mental checklist, and I think I'm at the end. Anyway, if you want to commission something from me, oh, that's the other thing. I am very picky about what I take commissions for. I will not take commissions for something that I am unfamiliar with. So, safest bet would be Italian Renaissance if you want a commission, or very simple clothing pieces. But if you're curious and you're just like, hey, do you like take this thing? The best way for me to be able to judge, is this something I can do for you or not, is for you to send me an email at scrapsandsequins@gmail. Include what you're looking for, reference pictures for what you're looking for, as well as an approximated budget. And then I can get back to you of like, that budget is unrealistic for this project, or you're looking more at like this much for this project. And I will always give you like kind of a ballpark to start with, and then as we refine details for what you want, that price can change. So if you are wanting like a super fancy Spanish dress for yourself, I would quote you $3,000 to $5,000. And if you decide you want yards and yards of hand beading, it's going to probably be more than $5,000. So yeah, that's just what it is, guys. If you want that many pieces and that level of fit detail, it's just going to be a lot. I also don't do custom fit pieces for people that I cannot meet in person. It's a part of that quality standard. So things like self-supported bodices, not gonna be a thing if I can't fit you in person. There's just so many variables. I want to make sure I get it right. But like a pair of stays that I have made to your measurements and then can build everything out from, that's more doable. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, and if you are watching the replay, thanks for doing that. I will see you guys at the same time next week, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we will have actual garments made and not just random foundation pieces. So, bye guys!